My name is Rachel Morgan. I'm a 34-year-old single mother to my 8-year-old daughter, Lily, and since my divorce from Ethan 2 years ago, we've lived a quiet life, or at least quiet enough. We rent a small one-story house in Asheville, North Carolina, surrounded by rolling hills, tall trees, and quiet neighbors. I work as a virtual assistant for a digital marketing company, which allows me to be home with Lily. I've always been practical, realistic. I'm not one of those people who sees signs in everything or senses energy in a room. I look at numbers, deadlines, logic. But since that night, everything has changed. It was a Wednesday, late September. Fall was already making the air drier, and orange leaves covered our yard. Lily had just finished her homework and went to brush her teeth before bed. I was on the computer, finishing up some overdue emails, when I heard her footsteps coming back down the hall. "Mommy?" "Hi, honey," I answered without looking. "Were you in the backyard just now?" I stopped. I looked at her. Her tone of voice wasn't one of curiosity. It was one of fear. "In the backyard? Now?" "No. I've been here since you went to brush your teeth." "Why?" She hesitated. Her eyes were wide and the toothbrush was still in her hand, dripping suds onto the floor. "I heard a noise, like you were calling my name. My bedroom window was ajar. When I looked, I saw you out there, standing, looking at me. But you were different." "What do you mean, different?" She pressed her lips together, as if she was afraid to tell me. "You were wearing your gray sweatshirt, the same one you wore yesterday. But your face was strange, very white. And you didn't blink. You just looked at me. Then, you disappeared behind the tree." I jumped up from my chair. I went straight to her bedroom window and opened the curtains. Nothing. Just the dark backyard, the leaves dancing in the wind, and the silhouette of the big tree by the fence. I grabbed my flashlight and went out the back door. I searched every corner, every shadow, every bush. Nothing. No footprints in the damp earth. No sounds other than the wind. But when I went back inside, I noticed something strange. The lock on the back door, it was unlocked. And I was pretty sure I had locked it after taking out the trash earlier. Lily slept in my bed that night. I didn't, and in the back of my mind, a nagging doubt throbbed. If that thing wasn't me, who, or what, was in my backyard with my face? The next day, I tried to act casual. I made Lily pancakes, as if the night before had been a bad dream. She didn't say much, and honestly, I didn't want to bring it up either. But something about her had changed. She kept glancing at me sideways, as if trying to make sure I was myself. That morning, I felt a strange uneasiness. Between Zoom meetings, I went to the city's classifieds website and bought a security camera with night vision. Nothing fancy, just something simple to cover the backyard. The seller delivered it the same day. Asheville is like that, small enough to seem cozy, until it isn't. I set the camera up near the back door, pointing it at the tree where Lily said she'd seen the woman. I turned on the continuous recording mode, with motion detection. Part of me felt ridiculous. Another part, the quieter part, was shaking. That night, Lily wanted to sleep with me again. I let her. And once again, sleep eluded me. The next morning, I ran to check the footage. Most of the video showed just the dark backyard, leaves rustling and bugs flying past the lens. Then, around 2:46 a.m., the motion alert went off. My heart pounding, I turned up the volume. The image shook slightly in the wind. The tree in the background looked more alive than usual. And then, she appeared. She stepped out from behind the tree, as if she'd been there forever. She was tall, thin, and wearing the same gray sweatshirt I'd left folded in the laundry basket. The camera didn't capture her face clearly, but something was off. She wasn't walking, she was gliding, as if her feet were barely touching the ground. She stopped in front of the camera and stood there, motionless. staring, her head tilted slightly. And then, with a sharp gesture, she smiled, slowly, widely, as if she knew I was watching. I turned off the video. The sweatshirt I checked was still in the basket. I touched the fabric with shaking hands. It was damp, cold, as if someone had worn it, or was still wearing it. After the recording, I spent the rest of the day with a metallic taste in my mouth, as if I were about to vomit up a secret I hadn't yet discovered. The figure in the video, that smile, the way she just appeared out of the dark, it wasn't a prank or a joke. Something very wrong was happening, and it had to do with me, or with the house. During lunch, Lily asked if we could leave. Yeah, I asked, trying to sound calm. Anywhere, away from here. She'd never said that. Ever. I tried to laugh it off, to change the subject. But in her eyes, I saw it, she didn't trust this place anymore. Or me, maybe. When Lily was asleep, I went to the basement. It was small, with a low ceiling, filled with boxes that had been left by the previous tenant. Most of them were old things, magazines, tools, a musty coat. But in a box in the back, almost hidden behind the radiator, I found something different. Papers, old photographs, and a diary. The first page of the diary had a name, Caroline Whitmore, 1984. I began to leaf through it carefully. The handwriting was shaky, scrawled, almost hard to read. But one entry sent chills down my spine. She came back yesterday. In the backyard, by the tree. She looks like me, but her eyes aren't mine. Edward says it's just my head, that I'm tired. But she knows things no one else does. She copies me. She wants to take my place. Caroline, 39 years ago. She had seen the same thing. I kept reading. The entries got shorter, more chaotic, until they suddenly stopped. The last entry today, she smiled. My smile. And I felt like she was already inside the house. I put the diary down and walked away from the boxes. The basement was colder than before, like something there had held its breath along with me. That night, I locked all the windows, all the doors. I slept with my phone's camera next to my bed. And around 3 a.m., I got a notification. Motion detected rear camera. The notification came with an image, not of the woman, of the open back door, and of footprints going in. But the scariest part, the footprints were coming from inside the house, going out. The next day, I didn't take Lily to school. She woke up pale, with bags under her eyes, and hugged me so tightly her arms were shaking. I didn't ask her anything. I knew deep down that she had felt it too. That she wasn't just a visitor in the yard anymore. She was in there. And maybe it was too late. I wanted to run away. I wanted to put Lily in the car, drive to another state, forget Asheville, forget the house, forget that face. But you can leave a house. What happens when the house is inside you? While Lily watched TV, I went back to the basement. I picked up Caroline's journal again and looked at the old photos. In one of them, I saw something that made me stop. A woman standing by the tree in the yard. Her hair pulled back, her face partially turned away. What startled me wasn't the resemblance, it was the certainty. She looked exactly like me. The same smile, the same look in her eyes. But the photo was from 1984. A deep nausea overcame me. A dizziness that made me sit down on the cold basement floor. A terrible idea began to take shape. What if she wasn't imitating me? What if I was becoming her? I ran upstairs. I found Lily standing in the hallway in front of the mirror. She was staring at her reflection, but there was something strange about her expression, a rigidity, as if she couldn't control her own face. Lily? I called. She didn't answer. I took another step. She blinked slowly. And then, in a whisper that didn't seem to come from her voice, she murmured, "Mommy, there's something wrong with you." My knees nearly gave way. What? She looked at me with a mixture of fear and sadness. I saw you sleeping last night, but your face was smiling even as you slept. A smile that wasn't yours. I went to the bathroom and stared at myself in the mirror. Sunken eyes, gaunt face. But there was something else. Something at the corner of my mouth. A faint hint of a smile, as if my skin remembered something I didn't. That night, I left the camera on again. And this time, I didn't see a woman in the backyard. I saw two. One standing behind the tree, and another sitting on the swing, wearing a gray sweatshirt. Both with my face. Both smiling. The next morning, when I went to check the camera, it was off the stand. On the floor. Turned off. On the phone screen, a single image had been captured before it fell me, staring directly into the lens. But I was asleep in the bedroom with Lily. I didn't go back to the basement. I didn't watch any more videos. I didn't search for answers. The silence in the house was thick, but not like before, not threatening. It was the kind of silence that comes after a decision. I got up and went to Lily's room. She was still asleep, hugging her teddy bear, like when she was little. For the first time in days, her face was calm, but my own, reflected in the hallway mirror, still bothered me. There was a weight there, a shadow behind my eyes, as if part of me was being pulled by something older. I knew I couldn't ignore it any longer. We had to leave. I packed everything I could in one afternoon. I called the real estate agent and told them I would deliver the house ahead of schedule. I didn't give them any explanation. They didn't ask. For a moment, I wondered if they had heard this before. On the road, I felt something liberating, as if, in leaving that house, I had also left a part of myself that I no longer wanted to carry. Or rather, that it had never been mine in the first place. But the nightmares started as soon as we moved into a new house in Knoxville, Tennessee. Dreams of me standing in the backyard of the old house, looking out the window, or worse, dreaming that I would wake up and see another version of myself sleeping next to Lily. The smile was still there, always the same, slow, wide, like a mask. That's when I started doing some research, not about the house, but about myself. I contacted my great-aunt, with whom my mother had cut ties many years before, and she was the one who told me something that gave me chills. Rachel, your mother was born in Asheville. You lived there until you were 2. Then she ran away. She never wanted to talk about it. She said that house stole mirrors. I was the second generation to return to that place. I didn't know, but she knew. The woman in the yard knew. Thankfully, the nightmares began to fade over time. Going back to therapy helped. Sleeping peacefully next to Lily helped even more. And one day, while we were playing in the park, Lily hugged me out of nowhere and said, "You're back, Mommy. Now it's you again." I smiled. This time, with my own smile. We haven't seen the woman since. But every night, before I go to sleep, I close the curtains carefully. And every time I pass a mirror, I look twice. And so our story ends. Did she really get rid of the woman in the backyard? Or did she simply change shape? If you like this suspenseful story, leave a like. It really helps the channel grow. Subscribe so you don't miss the next dark tales to come. And of course, share this video with someone who loves a good mystery. Maybe someone else has also seen another version of themselves out there, right? Until next time. And be careful who watches you from the backyard, even if they look like you.